Hi, thank you for joining. Cracking the code of AI option, that's the headline of this speak today. So why do I need it? Why do I want to talk about this? So I'm an engineer as a background, and I've built stuff, a lot of stuff, but people didn't use it. And then I got frustrated, and I was like, how can I make people actually use the stuff that I build? So how do I change the behavior? How do I make people use my products? And how do I organize organizations to use these tools that I build? So then I became expert in adoption, basically, as well as an engineer. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So who am I? I work at Nordan AI. We are a couple of former colleagues of Mikael from Peltarion. So I'm an engineer, so I work expert in AI adoption and wanted to nerd out about making AI practical, usable, and adopted. I also, after Peltarion, I worked at Ing. I was head of the AI enablement team. And then again, now I'm with Nordan. My other two colleagues are Tim Isbister. He's an ML engineer and a researcher. Very skilled full stack engineer. And then Evelina Antila, she's the founder, company builder, used to be head of legal at Peltarion, and knows all about that. I'm also a music nerd. So if you want to talk about music, you can send me a message. I love that. You can know what kind of music I like. All right, so what is Nordan? So we do two things right now. We work with AI adoption, and we build applied AI solutions or AI systems. And I focus on AI adoption because that's what I do, and Tim and Evelina focus more on the applied solution AI systems. But they go very much hand in hand, because if you build AI solutions that no one uses, then it's no use to build them. All right. So the problem is that our amazing AI tool, is not used. So that's what I'm talking about. And this is because AI adoption is actually quite hard. So you can look at this problem in through two different angles. One is that people are not using the available tools that we have at our company. For example, if you buy a company license of ChatGPT or Copilot, and people are not using them in the day-to-day work, or you can look at it that people are not using the amazing tools that I've created internally in the big organization, or that the customers that you built for are not using the tools that you have built. Or you can look at it that customers are not using the fantastic tool that my company has created that I want to sell to my customers. So, for example, that could be a problem that ChatGPT or OpenAI have, but that customers aren't really using ChatGPT as much as they want them to do. So, today, since this is for Codon Data Science Friday, I've kind of focused mostly on how you can get the fantastic tools that you built, how to make people use them. And from my experience, I built this AI adoption framework. It is a very human-centric approach because to AI change management. And the reason for that is that my opinion is that if you build a tool and you don't have the user front and center, then there's no point if nobody's going to use it. So that's why. And then to get people to use it, you need to have a human-centric approach. And the tools in this framework is not really rocket science. You can read about them in many places, but honestly, as I heard someone say at the Tech Arena the other day, that rocket science isn't rocket science anymore, because people have actually sent rockets into space for quite a while now. So these tools are battle tested, proven. I've tested them on both at Peltarion and my previous employers, and also at King. So, and the tools are these 8 that you need to use: change champions, the bottom-up community. You need to have hands-on workshops to learn by doing. You need to have an AI strategy to show which way you're heading in the company. You need to have executive mandates, to have like a top-down approach to show the guardrails and that you're allowed to use these tools. You need to have an active community to build psychological safety. You need to run pilot projects to understand where the value is, and you need to set up proper metrics and to make sure that you understand if there's a return of investment in these tools. And then you should always prepare for the backlash, because there is change is hard. We humans, we had a tendency not to change as fast, all of us. So then, and then there will be friction in that. So then you need to prepare for that. But I'm going to dive into each of these tools. So I can't really see. So let's take the questions later. Okay. So I split the adoption framework into two: the bottom up and the top down, where change champion hands-on workshops and active community is bottom up, and then the AI strategy, executive mandate, pilot products and metrics are prepared for backlash are the top down. So let's go start with the bottom up tools. So change champions, they are the visionaries and early adopters. And you can find champions across the organization in each granular craft. And what I mean with granular craft is that a lot of these tools are used in so many different ways. And you can't, as a developer or if you provide a tool, it's always hard to understand all the good ways you can use these tools. And then, you need to find champions, early adopter visionaries that can find use cases and within their craft. And I think that the craft could be anything from, if you look at the organization wide, you can look at it as a HR could be a craft, a front-end developer could be a craft, a technical writer could be a craft, and so it can be quite granular. Depending on what tool you're building, you can build that different kind of developers are different crafts. It depends on what your tool is or what you want to roll out. The important thing here is that they should have domain knowledge and find local ways of using AI. And often I find that these change champions, they are very alone in their team. I mean, that's the thing with visionaries and adopters. There are few of them. So what you should do, and this is actually quite crucial, is that you should build a community around them, and you should take care of them and give them what they need. So within a company, you should have separate Slack groups, or you could meetings with them and give them early access, stuff like that. If your company wants to someone to adopt your tool, then you should give away free credits or free tokens in that case, and also have a strong Discord community which is quite active as well. So, and if you want to read more about change champions, and one of my favorite books is Switch by the brothers Heath. Basically, they talk about how that we are. You need to motivate our practical, rational thoughts, but you need to speak to our emotions as humans, and you need to make sure the path to success is as easy as possible. It's a really good book. And if you want, and talking about change champions and have them across the organization, it's all about cascade theory. So that if you build small nodes that will adopt technology or adopt a change, then the change will cascade from these nodes. And a really good book on that is Cascading Change or Cascades from Sattel, talking about this. So and that's also very good why the change champions are so important, because they can spread the word across the organization in their small nodes. And I think that it's so much easier to listen to your colleagues that you listen to every day and say, this is a good use of this tool, than that someone outside is pointing or giving you ideas on how to do stuff. So you often listen to your peers. The next one is hands-on workshops, and that basically learn by doing with your colleagues. So all the tools that we are building, they are quite complex, and the best way to do is learning, just trying them out. So here again, if you want you use a tool to be used, I know then you should send out free credits. I know that Lovable has this go-to-market strategy. They just have, if you're running a workshop, you can ask them, could we get a lot of credits, and they will give you credits. Just send them an email. And I actually spoke with a lot of companies at Tech Arena about this, and they basically said, yes, send me an email and we will give you credits, no problems. So it's a really good go-to-market, and I think that is, I mean, that can be used internal as well. So, I mean, workshops, that could be hackathons, could be build days, code red weeks, all those kinds. And then in these workshops, you should definitely show demos, but you should also talk about me not speaking for 20 minutes. You should really allow people to use these tools at their own time, but it should be a space where they should use the tools, as in the workshops, but they have time for that. And this is also a really good place to showcase documentation on, where, so if they want to learn more, where you can find documentation. Then active community is really important because it builds psychological safety. So changing and starting to use things is can be you need to jump over a threshold, and so you need to build psychological safety so that it's okay to go over these thresholds. And so having a active community, it could be a Slack channel, it can be a Discord, it can be physical meetings. That is super important that you in this active community send out use cases and tips and tricks, and you can ask really good questions or really stupid questions. Just make sure that it's safe to speak out your mind. Has been super important. All right, so that's the bottom-up tools. And then, sorry, wrong way. Then we have top-down tool. The most important here now is the executive mandate. So that the leadership management team shows that it's okay to use the tools, that you free up time to use these tools, because if you have a deadline next week, you should always push for that deadline. But if you, as well as the management says, you should also free up time to learn new tools, but you need to use that tool in half a year. Then you'll never start to use the tool, because it's the closest deadline is also always the most important. And the only one who can decide on what's the most important is the management team. So you can do that by, for example, setting goals, good KPIs that says that if you try these tools, then you fulfill your goals. And you should do one thing is that you can lead by example, tell them, so I was using this tool this way and that way, and then the employees know that it's okay to use these tools. But the most important thing is to free up time, and that it's okay to use these tools and learn, and not be productive, but because you're not productive when you learn in the beginning. Then, of course, it's important to have an AI strategy. Maybe it's not as important when you roll out the tool that you built yourself, but if you roll out AI tools at the company, you should always explain in this strategy. You should also explain why you're using this tool and how you're using them, when, and what they're for. So, if you're going to roll out tools, one key thing that we found the last years is that you should always include legal and security, because if you don't, then they will say no at the end. So make sure to include them as soon as possible. So pilot projects, make sure that you run them and keep them small so you can fail fast or succeed fast. There's always learning in failing, but so don't keep them keep them small. Make sure that one pro tip is to include a user researcher in the pilot projects, because then the user researcher, they are experts in collecting and digesting information from these pilot projects. So, and they can run really good user analysis. So, I mean, I'm not a user researcher, and we had one in our team at King. It was gold to look at his insights to know what if we were doing something good or something that was not that good. And yeah, so and one good thing in this one is that also that if you're running these pilot projects, metrics is the next tool, and that's a hard one. There's a lot of you can put up really bad metrics, but you can also put up really good ones just to understand the return on investments. And a good way is to try which metrics are good in the pilot projects, because then you and test. So then you start to understand, is this metric a good one for this if you're going to roll out this to a larger audience. So and I mean, the metrics, they can be qualitative or quantitative. I mean, nowadays, if you're doing a qualitative, like interview style, then they actually can turn in with the natural language processing. You can with the LLMs, you can put them into a quantitative one as well, which is quite interesting. And also, research shows that people tend to like to answer questions or interviews when the interviewee is an AI bot, because then for some reason we humans think that it's easier to talk with these things with a bot in the survey context. Quite interesting. So and then the last one then is to prepare for backlash. So, and what this means is that I mean, change is hard. I mean, we talked about the change champions as early adopters and visionaries. Then we have the early majority, late majority, and laggards. They come in behind, and they don't change as fast. And there are many reasons for that. And when change is happening and it's a feeling that it's forced upon them, then there will be backlash. And sometimes this backlash is a good thing, because there could be sound ideas in their objections, but sometimes they're not just afraid, and sometimes it's not about the technology. Sometimes it's about organization. If you want to spend $1 million on this project or $1 million on that project, maybe the one that will not get the $1 million will do a backlash. So it could be organizational politics as well. But so in this one, just prepare for it, because it will come. So all right. So actually, this is about. I wanted to keep it short, because I also want to open up for questions, and I kept. So these are all the bullet points that I talked about. And you can also, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can look on this and how to change. I mean, you can think about how to roll out. Do you want to build a centralized approach, or do you want to build a decentralized approach? And if you building a product, do you want to use forward deployed engineers? That's becoming more and more popular, because the technology is more and more complex and people are not finding use for it. Basically, it's change champions that are as consultants for a product. It's a very interesting strategy. I mean, you can also talk about how to set up learning strategies. I mean, how to set up courses. But I think that's another talk that I'd love to have as well. But now I open up for questions.